Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video for lesson day 95, creating two-way tables. This is your last day of two-way tables, day 3. And believe it or not, it's actually your last lesson for the year. This is the last 8th grade lesson I will ever teach you as your 8th grade math teacher. I know it's hard to believe that, but yes, we are here. This is it. It is done. I've been so proud of you and how hard you guys have worked. And so from here on out, all we're really going to kind of do is just review. Don't forget we have to review for this exam and take this exam on statistics, but moving forward, we're just going to kind of do review for our finals, and then also maybe learn a few little new things here and there, maybe just through do nows and stuff, but otherwise, this is it. This is the last day, so woohoo! Definitely celebrate. All right, so this day 3 of two-way tables is kind of like two things. One is going to be creating two-way tables, and the other thing is going to be just kind of finishing up the two-way tables and working on our questioning skills. So that's what we're going to do here. All right, so let's start with the tough stuff, get it out of the way. So you have to create your own two-way table. Notice all they did was give you a scenario, but they didn't give you any of the tables at all that you guys are used to seeing. So we're going to create those ourselves. Jack surveyed students in his high school about the pets they have. So of the girls, 16 had dogs, 11 had cats, 8 had no pets. Of the boys, 9 had dogs, 7 had cats, 12 had no pets. So you know that two-way tables are bivariate information. So bi meaning two. So there's two different categories that we're talking about here. And you kind of have to figure that out. And that's really the hardest part. Okay, so the first category are who got surveyed. So that'll be girls and boys. And then the second category would be your pets. So that's your dogs, your cats, and your no pets. Okay, so you want to set up your two-way table. This is what it's going to want to look like. Besides girls and boys, we also have total. And besides dog, cats, and no pets, we also have total. So it really doesn't matter which one you put where. I tend to put, I guess, the lesser amount here on my rows. So it's going to be girls. It's going to be boys. And then every single two-way table has to have that total on the bottom. It's very, very, very important. Okay, so now I'm going to start the pets. And I'm not just going to write pets. I'm going to write specifically what pets they were. So the first one was dogs. Second one was cats. Third one was no pets. Okay, and then the most important one, you cannot forget. Okay, do not forget. This is going to come up a lot today. The last one has to be total. It's a little messy, but that is what it looks like. And then I'm actually going to ask you a question down here that wasn't typed. Okay, so of the girls, so we're working on this row right now. 16 had dogs, 11 had cats, 8 had no pets. So let's figure out our total. So that's 16 plus 11 plus 8, and that's going to be 35. Okay, that one's done. Now the boys. So now we're working with this row. 9 had dogs, 7 had cats, 12 had no pets. So let's get that total. 9, 7, and 12 is 28. And then just do your math to get the rest of the total. So 16 plus 9, that's going to be 25. 11 plus 7 is 18. 8 plus 12 is 20. And you can either add this way or this way, but that will get you 63. Okay, so that was creating and filling in. And then the question that I want to ask you is, what is the relative frequency of students with no pets? So that's our fraction I want us to create. So let's see, what do we have? Of our students, that's going to be our denominator, okay, because that is who is being surveyed. Who is being surveyed. And then no pets, that's going to be our numerator because we want to know about them. So who is being surveyed? So total amount of students was 63. And people that have no pets. Now notice it doesn't say anything besides no pets. So that's no pets and total. Okay, we're working with that. So no pets, total is 20. And then we do 20 out of 63. And we get 0.32. 0.32. All right, that was the first one. Nice job. Okay, number 2. 10 students at lunch were asked which grade they were in and whether or not they played on a school team. So basically that's kind of telling you what our two variables are bivariate. So it's going to be grade and whether or not they played on a team. Now grade, if you notice here, okay, that's going to be here in yellow. I see the number 6s and 7. So those are going to be our numbers we're going to use. So we're going to have 6th grade, then we're going to have 7th grade. Okay, and what has to be on the bottom? Very good. Total has to be on the bottom. Okay, and then whether or not they were on a school team. So notice yes and no. So we have yes, played on a team. So play on a team. And then we have do not play on a team. And then most important, what does every two-way table have to have at the end? Total. So important. Okay, so let's start with our 6th graders. So 6th graders, this one's a little bit confusing, but this means yes, they played on a team. This means no. So we want yes, that they did play on a team. So that's 1, 2. Okay, so those are done. 6th grade that did not play on a team. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3. That's a total of 5. Now let's work on our 7th graders. 7th graders who play on a team. So that's 1, 2, 3. And do not play on a team, 1, 2. So 3 plus 2 is 5. 5, 5. Oh, lots of 5s and 10s. Okay. So that was it. Here's a question for this table. What is the relative frequency of 6th graders who play on a team? Okay, what is the relative frequency of 6th graders who play on a team? So here is who's being surveyed. So this is going to be your denominator, who is being surveyed. And then this is what they're asking you about. So this right here is going to be your numerator. And this is what you always look for. So of the 6th graders, so how many 6th graders were there in total? 5. Okay, so out of those 5, who played on a team? Who played on a team? That would be 2. So 2 out of 5 is 0.4, or 0.40 if we were doing nearest hundredth. So this is really the hard part of the lesson. And it's kind of over. You actually having to create your own two-way table. That is the hardest two-way table you can get. They can ask you hard questions, but creating your own table is really the toughest it could get. So that was it for the tough questions. So hopefully you understood. Okay, so moving forward, we're just going to kind of be filling in our two-way tables and dealing with the questions. So with the questions, what I want you to notice, and you probably didn't notice, they were always the same. It's always of. I always asked you the word of. And that's how we were able to tell what the denominator was going to be. Now moving forward, the way they make these difficult is they don't use the word of, because that's what you're used to. They're going to use the word to. So actually they can use both, of and to. So I'm going to write this. So copy. So even though it says of, you now look to the word to, okay, T-O, word to tell you who is being surveyed, and who is being surveyed will always be your denominator. Okay, so every other question I've given you so far, it never had both words of and to. It only ever had the word of. So you didn't think twice about it. But now these more difficult ones, you're going to see not only does it have the word of, but it has the word to. So it's kind of confusing on which one do I pick. So you're always going to go to the word to. Wherever you see the word to, whatever is after the word to, that's who's being surveyed. So it's going to be after the word to. Now, if there is no to, there will be just that plain old of. All right, so let's try some of these really tough ones now. Now, these are just tough because the questions are a little bit tougher. So what is the relative frequency of a student who has been to both Canada and Mexico to all the students have been to both. So you notice I have of and to. So we're going to defer to that word to. And this is going to be our denominator. Okay, this is going to be our denominator. And again, this is telling us who is being surveyed. And then we have this over here. Student who has been to both Canada and Mexico. That's going to be our numerator. That's telling us what we want to pick out. So my two-way table is done. I have my totals, so I'm just going to solve my question. All right, so my denominator, all the students have been to Mexico. All the students have been to Mexico. So total that have been to Mexico. So have been to Mexico. Where is my total? My total is right here. That is going to be my denominator. Now my numerator. So of those people that have been to Mexico, so we're still working on this row right here. We want to know how many people have been to both Canada and Mexico. So Canada and Mexico. Mexico, Canada, that is 6 in total. So 6 divided by 9 is 0.67 or 67%. Didn't really say what to do, but this is usually how we do it on the final. A fraction and then a decimal or just the fraction. Okay, so that's it for number 3. Number 4, the two-way table shows how some students get their news. So we have 7th grade versus 8th grade, TV versus internet. Now, if you notice, this is not done, this two-way table. Something is missing. What's missing from this? What did I say has to be in the two-way table? Good. So it has to have the word total. So you need a total here on the bottom. And then we need a total here on the top. You cannot do anything unless you have the totals. So really quick, we're going to get this. 13 plus 20 is 33. 49 and 68 is 117. Now let's go this way with our rows. 13 plus 49 is 62. 20 plus 68 is 88, and 33 plus 117 is 150. Okay, so now that the whole entire thing is set up, now you can go ahead and answer your questions. So how many students were surveyed? So this is basically frequency, and that's for the total for the table. Okay, total for the table, and that's going to always be right here. See, so we needed that number. Okay, next one. What is the relative frequency of students that responded TV to the total number of students surveyed? So notice you have your of and your to. So defer, I don't even know if that's the right word, but always look at the word to. And this is who is being surveyed. Who is being surveyed, and this is going to be your denominator. And responded TV, that's what we want to know about them, that's your numerator. Okay, so who's being surveyed? Total number of students surveyed. So how many students were surveyed in total? That's going to be the 150. So that's going to be your number on the bottom. Okay, now your numerator, responded TV. So total for TV. How many people in total responded TV? And that's 33. 33 out of 150 is 0.22. I think I'm just going to write. Guess I could do this. All right. So this is the toughest kind of question you could get. And it's toughest because it's kind of like a 2-in-1 kind of question. So just bear with me. So it says, do a higher percentage of 7th graders or 8th graders get their news from the internet? Now, notice that nowhere here do you see the word to. Okay, so this is going to bring us back to the word of. So it's going to be of 7th or of 8th. Those are both going to be your denominators. So I'm going to write here, these are going to be your denominators. So we're going to use of because there is no to. Okay, I told you it's going to be tough. And what do we want to know about those people? People that get their news from the internet. Okay, and that's going to be your numerator. So why did I say there has to be 2? We have to do 1 fraction for 7th graders and 1 fraction for 8th graders because it's a different amount. So of the 7th, okay, so of the 7th is going to be your denominator. Okay, so 7th graders, how many total 7th grade? Because no, it just says 7th. Now, if it just says one thing, you assume it means total with it. So 7th grade, how many in total were there? 62. So out of those 62, how many people got their news from the internet? So out of the 62, for the 7th graders, the internet was 49. So 49 out of 62 is 0.79. So 0.79 or 79%. Okay, now our second one, 8th graders. So now we're just going to focus on the 8th graders. I have 88 8th graders, and out of those 88 8th graders, we're still working with internet, 68 of them said the internet, so that's going to be 0.77 or 77%. So if we compare the percents, which one was higher? And that's this one, 7th grade. So this is always your toughest kind, the one where you actually have to compare. All right, next page. The two-way table shows the number of students that do or do not do chores at home and whether they receive an allowance or not. So we look here, what's missing? Very good. So the first thing we have to do is we have to do our totals. Okay, you always have to have the total or the two-way table is not complete and you can't answer any questions. Okay, so 13 plus 3 is 16, 5 plus 4 is 9, 13 plus 5 is 18, 4 plus 3 is 7, and 18 plus 7 is 25. All right, so how many total students do chores? So you see total and chores. So do chores and total, they intersect at 16. All right, what is the relative frequency of students that do chores and get an allowance? 2. All right, so we're bringing back that word 2 again. So this is who is being surveyed. And the one that's being surveyed, that's always going to be your denominator. So that'll be my orange. And then what do I want to know about them? Do chores and get allowance. I want those specific people. That's going to be my numerator. Okay, total number of students that do chores. We actually just answered that above. That's 16. Okay, so we're going in this row. Out of this row, how many do chores and get an allowance? So do chores and get an allowance would be 13. Okay, so 13 out of 16 is 0.81. Or 81%. Percent to the nearest whole number. Okay, we did that. Okay, good. C, what is the relative frequency of students that do not do chores nor get allowance to the total number? There's that 2 again. You see of and you see 2. The word 2 is what helps you to pick out your denominator. So denominator, who is being surveyed, and then what do we want to know about them? Those specific people. Your numerator, do chores, and get an allowance. All right. Total number of students. So that means for the whole entire table, total is 25. Okay, I don't know why I wrote this so big. All right, so now out of the 25, those that do not do chores nor get an allowance. So no chores and no allowance, that's 4 people. And I know that's 0.16 and 16%. Okay, so that's question number 5. Question number 6. Hopefully you guys are doing okay with this. The two-way table shows the number of Sasha's soccer teammates that are in her math and English class. Okay, so you know the deal by now. First thing we have to do is finish the table. I need the table so I can answer my questions. 4 plus 1 is 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, 4 plus 2 is 6, 1 plus 3 is 4, and those give me 10. All right, so this is a new word for us, sample population. You'll learn a lot more about that next year. All that's asking is who is being surveyed. So the two-way table shows the number of Sasha's soccer teammates. So there you go. It's Sasha's soccer teammates. Sasha's soccer. Oh, say that a couple times fast. Okay. What is the relative frequency of teammates that are in both of Sasha's classes? 2. Okay, there's that 2. Again, always if you have of and you have 2. If you have both, this is going to be your denominator because a 2 is being surveyed. Okay, so all of her teammates are being surveyed. So all together, how many people were surveyed? That's this number right here. And what do we want to know? We want to know about that people that are in both. So we want to know not only are they in her English class, but they're also in her math class, and that would be 4 people. So 4 divided by 10 is 0.4 or 0.40, and that's going to give us 40%. Remember to make a percent once, twice to the right. All right. Of the teammates in her math class, which percentage is higher? The percentage of teammates that are in her English class or the percentage of teammates that are, okay, so this is one of those really super tough ones again. This is going to be that comparison. Okay. Do I see the word to? No, I don't see the word to anywhere. So now we have to defer back to or default back to the of ends. There we go. So here's the word of. You're going to use that. This is going to be your denominator because there's no to. So this is who I know who is being surveyed. Okay, who is being surveyed. Okay, so what percentage is higher? The percentage of teammates that are in her English class that are not. Okay, so we have to do one for in English. And then we have to do one not in English. Okay, so one in English and one not in English. Those are the two things we were comparing. Number 4 was a little different. We were comparing actually 7th and 8th grade who got their news from the internet. Okay. All right. So let's see. What percentage is high? The percentage of teammates that are in her English class. Oh boy, this is tricky. Okay. So in her math class, first one, the percentage of teammates that are in her English class. That's our first numerator. And then again, this is our second numerator. Not in her English class. Okay, this is our second numerator. Okay, of the teammates in her math class. So we're only talking about the people that are in the math class. And there's only 5 of them. Okay, how many of those 5 were also in her English class? So also in her English class was 4. So 4 out of 5 is 0.8 or 80%. Okay, and now we're still working with people in her math class. So out of those 5, how many were not in English? So not in English was 1. So 1 out of 5 is 0.20 or 20%. So which percentage is higher? Those that are in her math and English or those that are in her math but not in her English? And that would be this one right here. Okay, so again, in English, that's your numerator. This is our numerator, all these things in yellow. And in English is the winner. So those are always really the toughest ones, the one that you could do the comparison to. All right, last 2 questions. These should go pretty quick. 100 teens were polled about whether they are required to do chores and whether they have a curfew. Is there an association? Remember the word association, that was way from the beginning of our unit. That just means correlation or relationship. Correlation or relationship between having a curfew and having to do chores. So our table is already set up for us. So find the relative frequency of having to do chores. So total who have to do chores. So chores total is 20. So 20 out of 100 is 0.20 or 20%. Find the relative frequency of having to do chores among those who have a curfew. So this one was out of total amount of people surveyed. This is the amount of total people with a curfew. So curfew is 32. How many of those here that of the 32 do a chore? So chore and curfew is 16. 16 out of 32 is 0.5 or 50%. So compare the relative frequencies. Students who have a curfew, that's here, are less likely or more likely to have to do chores than general. So 50 versus 20, this is a higher number, so that is more likely. Is there an association between having a curfew and having to do chores? So obviously yes, because it's higher. So the relative frequency shows that having a curfew makes it more likely that a student will have to do chores. Okay, the relative frequency shows that having a curfew makes it more likely that a student will have to do chores. That's because 50% was bigger than 20%. Okay, so last question. Use table below to answers A through F. Okay, survey asked citizens if they own their home and if they intend to vote in the next election. The results are displayed in the table. If you notice something is missing, we got to do that first. So we have our total. All right, so 85 and 17 is 102. 30 and 68 I know is 98. 102 plus 98 should be 200. 85 plus 30 is 115. And 17 plus 68 is 85. So now I have all those numbers. Now I can go ahead and figure out my questions. How many citizens were surveyed? So that means in total, everybody in total is 200. How many of those own their own home? So it just says home, so think home and total. So own their own home and total, that would be 115. How many of those surveyed do not own their own home? So that's do not and total. So do not and total intersect at 85. What percentage of those who own their own home intend to vote? Okay, so this is going to be your denominator because you have that word of, and then here is your numerator. Don't let that confuse you because that's just saying what they want to do. So people that own their own home, that was 115 of them. And intend to vote is 85 of them, right? Intend to vote, own their own home is 85. So 85 divided by 115 is 0.74. So 0.74 or 74%. What percentage of those who do not own their own home, so that's my denominator. Okay, so we know people that do not own their own home was the 85. We did that number before. Intend to vote, that's 17. 17 divided by 85, that's going to give us 0.2 or 0.20, nearest hundredth, which would give us 20%. Draw a conclusion about the association between the home ownership. So basically they're saying, okay, this is own their own home, do not own their own home. And now look at the differences. Those that own, 74% are going to vote. Those that don't, 20%. So is there a conclusion, or what can we draw? What conclusion? So those who own a home are more likely to vote. Okay, and that's just an association or a correlation. All right, so hopefully you're okay with this. This was day 3 of two-way tables. This was the last day of me teaching you a new lesson. Yay, that's so exciting. Please don't forget to put your homework number 95 onto Google Classroom. It's a pretty tough homework. Just please, please, please try your best. And that is it. If you have any questions, let me know. But that is it. Last lesson for the year. Yay. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.